Are you struggling with all the despair and suffering of the apocalypse? Well, have I got the solution for you. Beer. Did you recently get into a car crash and now you're on your last legs? Have a beer. Did you get poisoned by antifreeze? Drink a beer. Are you stranded in the middle of nowhere and need a plane to fly back? Don't worry, beer's got you covered. Beer. Brought to you by the writers of Fear the Walking Dead. We swear it's not a fetish. What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Fear the Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 5, The End of Everything. This one was okay. Overall, I didn't find anything really dumb with it. There were a couple of moments, like the whole rock climbing thing, that maybe should have been executed a bit better. A lot of the scenes didn't even look like they were really climbing when they were closer. And I'm not saying they should have had them climbing for real in all of the scenes, but at least work with them on making it look like they are climbing and holding on for dear life. Because a lot of the scenes, whenever you get really close, you just see them and there's no like real grip with their fingers. It looks like they're just kind of like doing this on the wall. And I'm thinking, yeah, you guys would be falling if this is actually how you were holding onto the wall. So that was the only scene that I felt like could have been done a bit better. Everything else was just fine. I will say it was kind of funny starting off the episode with Al getting away from Isabel. And there's that moment whenever she is in the river. She's got her hands, I think, pretty sure they were tied up. And all she's got is the bag with her camera in it. And you just see these two walkers converging on her. I'm thinking, okay, how's she going to get out of this? They don't even show us. She's just safe in the next scene with 3 more walkers converging on her, and you could see she's worried about using the camera to beat up the walkers. I'm like, then how'd you kill the other 2? We're just going to ignore that? But of course, we find out the reason later they cut out that scene is because that's where she hid the tape, and that was supposed to be a surprise, I suppose. But outside of those couple of scenes, everything else was fine. I just feel like, unfortunately, where this episode falls for me, a lot of it is built on this connection between Al and Isabel. And I didn't feel it at all. First of all, it's very predictable. As soon as they were in the little tent hanging up, which I thought that was a cool little design. Don't know how they got it up there to begin with, but I like that idea. You know, you put up a tent that's up in the air so that way the walkers can't get to them and they can actually sleep. But that scene, there was something about it, the way that it was set up, I'm thinking, they're putting them together, aren't they? There's going to be like some romantic thing between them by the end. Yeah, it just sort of happened. Not very naturally. It felt pretty rushed. It was only a couple of days that they were together and they're just making all these connections. And it felt like they were just basically checking off a checklist to put them together by the end and have it make sense. You know, you think about, they have the one scene whenever Al kind of saves Isabel whenever they're on the cliff. You know, she falls, she's like, just let me go, basically saying, you can sacrifice me, it's okay. And Al's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So that's one thing off the checklist. You have them having a history that's kind of similar, so that's one thing off the checklist. You have a little moment under the stars with the 2 of them, that's something off the checklist. Have them sharing a beer, that's off the checklist. Like, there are just several things that they did that I'm thinking, this is basically just, how do you put 2 characters together in a TV show? Here's what you do. And they just did it all in like 15 minutes. That's not going to make connections with your audience, though. It's going to feel rushed, and it did. And on top of that, I do feel like these 2 characters are not well suited for romantic relationships. Like, I get the fact that, okay, they're both sort of closed off, and so now they meet each other, and they're the right people to open up to, but it doesn't feel right. You know, Isabel, we don't know much about, but we do know she was willing to kill her best friend for the sake of this mission. And now Al, she's just like, no, I'm not going to kill her because there's something there. For Al, she has not opened up over several months. She's not opened up at all to Morgan and the rest of the group. And now within a couple of days, she's like, no, I'm going to tell this woman my whole backstory because there's something there. Why are we just suddenly changing these characters out of nowhere just to force this romantic relationship in the show? Like with John and June, it felt more natural because they had several months together of just nobody else in their lives but the 2 of them. Like, June had just come away from everything that happened at the one place where she kind of got everybody killed because of her daughter. John was out here by himself for a long, long time. And so it kind of made sense for the 2 of them to form that connection, especially because John was sort of bringing out that side of June that she was trying not to show. She didn't want to make connections. She was constantly on the run. She felt like anytime she did make connections, it was going to cause trouble for the people around her. So it made sense that she didn't want to make the connections, but John, he was just happy to have somebody there. And slowly they started to realize maybe they had some stuff in common. Maybe there was a connection there. It wasn't a huge connection, but there was something. And so that romance eventually formed, and it was well done, well handled. Maybe a little rushed in the sense of they only had an episode to do it, but you could at least see how long it took them to get there. There was time jumps involved. With this was within a couple of days. They're already changing who they are as characters for each other, basically. And I just don't feel like that's quite as impactful. If there were anything else going on in this episode, if we learned a bit more about whatever Isabel and her group are trying to do, I feel like maybe this episode could have held a little bit more weight, but unfortunately we don't, which means the whole episode is built around, do you feel this connection between Al and Isabel? And I didn't. Finally, the episode's ending. I will say the fact that Al is now willing to open up a bit more, I guess is nice, because she has been so closed off despite the fact she's been with Morgan for so long. Still feel like it's weird that it takes some random woman she met to get her to finally open up, but sure, we'll go with that. But Isabel just leaves on the helicopter. That's who we saw at the end of last episode. And I will say it's kind of anticlimactic. She calls off the group that she's a part of. She's flying away, probably out of the show for a little while. I was kind of interested to see more about this group, and now we're just not going to focus on them. So what is the focus going to be now? Because all we've really got is Morgan and everybody trapped. We've got these kids who are not actually evil. They're just kids who are scared and setting up these boundaries to try to keep people away. And then we've got Strand and Luciana, Wendell, Sarah, and Charlie all trying to get them out of there. And that's kind of it. Like, I know Logan is still technically there, but he's not really involved right now. I feel like that's going to be more so something after we get Morgan and Alicia and all of them back to where they were before, then Logan will be more of a focus. So what is it going to be for this rest of this half of the season? Because we still have 3 episodes left until we're done. I just don't feel like it's going to be that interesting. Who knows? Maybe they'll pull something out of their ass that makes it entertaining. Not hold my breath for it, though. But for now, we move on to the next episode. I'll see you there. And now, episode 6, The Little Prince. This one, again, okay. Elements of it are decent. You got some good moments with Morgan talking to Grace, and then Alicia, kind of her comeback to everything Annie told her. There were some good moments in this, but overall, it's still just, meh. I'm not really feeling it. I think a lot of it is just down to, I feel like the characters that they are working to try to save, I'm not that invested in. I'm not really sure what it is. Like, the characters are okay. They're definitely better than they have been for the past several seasons, by far. But there's just something about this story that I'm not really getting into. Like, first of all, with Annie, I don't really care about her or these kids, to be honest. The fact that all of them just listen to what she says and do what she says, I feel like is kind of stupid. I know they're kids. So if she's the leader of the group, yes, they are more impressionable to listen to what she has to say. But at the same time, Dylan and Max are still, throughout the episode, telling her, no, this is good, this will work. Still at the end, they just follow her. They just leave with her. And for Annie, like, I know she's a kid and I know what she's gone through really sucks. But at the same time, I'm not a fan of characters that are so stubborn that they'd rather put themselves in danger and put other characters in danger as well, trying to help them, than look at the situation and go, actually, this might be good for us to leave. With Grace, it's kind of the same thing, where Morgan is trying to help her, and she's so adamant that, no, this is what I need to do on my own without anybody else. And again, I can't fault her. I understand where she's coming from, but it's still kind of annoying to deal with. I do feel like maybe some of it is coming from, this show has had stubborn characters before that haven't had a good reason for being stubborn, they just were. Now we have stubborn characters that have a good reason to be that way. So I understand, but I am kind of just sick of seeing these types of characters that don't want to listen to anybody else, don't want to go along with anybody else. They just want to do what they want to do. I will also say John and Dwight, I was on board for it at first. I enjoyed kind of seeing the back and forth between them. You know, they're working together, they're picking up on clues. John's using some of his police knowledge to kind of help put the pieces together. But then it's got to end with this stupid bullshit story that we've seen done so many times. I feel like I've seen this done at least 200 times in other forms of media. I read this thing and if I feel like this is going to hurt him to read it, so I'm not going to tell him about it. I'm going to tell him I didn't find a letter, and I bet Dwight's going to find out later that John hid that letter from him whenever he probably finds her. She's going to be like, I told you in my letter not to come look for me. And then John's going to be like, I'm sorry, man, I hid it from you. I didn't think you'd want... And it's going to lead to a misunderstanding. It's going to lead to tension. How many times? How many times can you do this story? Try to paint it as if it's a new thing. Like, it really has gotten to the point of cliche at this point. As soon as he read the letter, without showing it to Dwight first, that's all I could think was, oh, he's going to read this, he's going to think it's best not to show him, and he's not going to show him. And sure enough, what was it, 20 minutes later, after we cut to all these different scenes, it was way too long that it took to get back to that moment whenever he hides the letter from him. We all knew it was coming though, because we've seen it done so many times. The way you were setting it up, clearly he's going to do it again. He's going to make that same mistake that so many other characters and so many other shows and movies and everything have made. Why? Why do you have to follow all these stupid cliches? So all of that is kind of culminating into a lack of enjoyment, even though some of the aspects are done better than they have been done in the show before. Overall, I'm still not really enjoying myself with it. But moving on from all of that, one final thing to discuss is something that I kind of separated from everything else, because all these rest of the stories, they feel natural in this world. They feel like things that would be talked about in a world where the apocalypse has happened and all these serious things happen, all this death and depression going on. A lot of the stories make sense in that world. But let's talk about the one that doesn't, because once again, whoever is in the writing room that has this fetish with beer decided to pop their head back in for this episode and go, hey guys, have we talked about beer in a while? Has anybody mentioned beer? I know we killed Jim off, but can we go back to beer? Because beer is just beer, right? Beer is so beer and beer? Like beer and beer, beer, beer. And so sure enough, they wrote it in where beer saves the day again. We already had it save the day at the end of last season, but let's have it save the day again by having Jim have a beer hot air balloon. Isn't that just quirky and beery and beer? Oh my god, as soon as Charlie showed the poster and showed the big hot air balloon, I just rolled my eyes. I'm pretty sure I rolled my eyes so far in the back of my head that they did a full 360 all the way around. It kind of hurts still. What else am I supposed to say to that? I've said it before, this show straight up turns into a sitcom sometimes. I don't understand why. You have all these storylines that you want us to take seriously. You want to treat this world as if it's dangerous and deadly and have us get all intense and, oh God, who's going to die next? Somebody could die, anybody could. And then you have moments like this that just absolutely takes me out of it. And now I don't feel anything for this show. And I'm sure you're wondering, wait a minute, I thought you said this episode was just meh, and now you're just absolutely fuming with this one moment. How could this episode be meh? And then this is so frustrating for you. Well, the fact of the matter is, this doesn't feel like it's in the same episode. This doesn't feel like it's in the same show. And ultimately, I look at this and I go, it's not going to stick around. They crashed the balloon, which I'm kind of glad that they did, because while I'm watching it, I'm thinking, you guys just know how to control a hot air balloon now? So the fact that they crashed into an area that they weren't supposed to, I feel like is a bit more realistic. Okay, they don't know how to control a hot air balloon, so that's why they crashed. So it is just one scene, and I can take that one scene and go, this is not a part of this show. This is something that happened on some other show with these same actors, and they just accidentally edited it into this show for a few seconds. Whoopsie. I can do that with these random one-off scenes. It's whenever they have too many of these scenes back to back to back, and I will say this season has not done that nearly as much as the past couple seasons did. You have the episode where the axe split the bullet, and now you've got this with the beer balloon. Those are two scenes in this whole season that have been so stupid that it took me out of it. Last season had several. So it's kind of one of those, I still hate these scenes, but they're happening less frequently, so I'm not as upset with the episode as a whole. I'm still pissed off at the scene because it's still dumb, but the episode overall doesn't nearly get knocked down as much whenever you don't have as many stupid dumb moments like this. But now we have our setup for the final two episodes. I'm guessing it's going to be all about trying to get to Charlie and Strand, trying to get the propellers back, trying to get the kids to join them as they try to leave, and also maybe helping Grace along the way too, before the reactor just blows up and kills everybody there. I will say it is a little bit of a nice change where it's not people that they're fighting against. It's not a group of people that are trying to hunt them down, that they're trying to fight back. It is a bit unique to have a nuclear plant about to explode, and that's the danger that you have to get out of there, and all these walkers that have the radiation that you're trying not to get exposed to. That's very different compared to what we've had in this show and in The Walking Dead. So I will give them credit for that, and that's, again, one of the few things that is keeping me invested and interested in this story, even if there are several things that feel overdone or feel not as interesting to me. But with all that being said, that does it for these two episodes. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these two? Let me know, we can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Fear the Walking Dead reviews. Also check out the channel. We have a lot of reviews on here, so check those out if you have time. But until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.